Is the usual story, dog. We've been doing a bit too much mud punching, old Caterpillar. So one thing you've got to expect with a TD, when you go mud punching, you're probably going to do an alternator. So we did an alternator yesterday, must have got full of mud or whatever, stopped working. And a little voltage gauge, we've only got battery voltage. So got to pull the alternator out. So this thing's buggered again. It's probably just dust and muck in the brush boxes, but it's only putting about 13.1 volts. It doesn't really get much above that, and then it just dropped off and was only on about battery voltage. So yeah, it's not actually doing its job. So anyway, it's been in there for a lot of Ks. I think I've got 2 of them, and I'll switch between the 2 every few years. So I'm just curious, if you're away and you do one of these somewhere, I'll sort of carry a spare now because they do go bung a bit. They don't like getting muck in them. So anyway, I thought I'd see how hard it is to actually pull it apart and clean the brushes out, or change the brushes. Of course, none of these screws come undone, so we're going to do a bit of a number on them. Alright, let's do a actually give me a hand for a sec. When I nod my head, hit it.
Fuck it.
That's wearing.
Alright,
just give it a little tap. Wait, whoa, fucking hell.
I've got a little thing for you, Dad.
What do you got for me, buddy?
One moment. You're going to love this.
Oh. Have you got me some camera gear?
Yeah.
These kids are always a pain in the ass. Right. Screwdriver like a hit with a hammer.
I do, yeah. What?
Have you got one?
Yeah.
A Phillips head screwdriver like a hit with a hammer.
Yeah. What about this one?
I need a fruitine. No, it's an electric one as well. Oh, might be better than the other one, but it needs to be a fruitine one.
Yeah, no, I've got one. I'll go get one.
Okay, go on, that'd be good.
Yeah, ready?
What have you got for me? You got a bloody tripod.
Yeah, look at this, eh? Upgrades for Oz Patrol Chris Richards. Let's fucking get this shit sorted.
Can't swear.
Ooh, get this stuff sorted. We go like this, eh? Perfect.
Are we aiming the right direction?
Yeah, man.
Is it recording?
Face, alternator.
Is it
Oh, is
recording?
that a water pump? Yeah.
You can't make me too professional, mate.
Oh,
Go get your, grab your
Yeah,
your impact, your fruitine bashy Phillips head.
Yeah.
Bugger. Looks like mine.
Should have gone with Specsavers, mate.
Righto. What we're going to do, we go that, and I want to torque amplify. Oh, I'm going to put a ringy on that, look at that. Look at here. Oh.
Extra spin.
Righto, so as I do that, I'll put that down so you don't hit me. Right, as I nod my head, hit it. Hang on. There we go. Guess what? I actually think that's started to go, or it's twisting, one of the two. That, oh yeah, yeah. Oh yes. Isn't it good playing with those shit boxes? Everything's rusty and horrible and shit. Righto. discuss. So it's going to be a long process getting them out. Anyway, I'm going to put some more gunk in them. I'm going to go for drive and dirt and stuff, so I'll do that first. Soaking the bastard. Young bloke stolen his tripod back, little bastard. But anyway, so here we go. I'm doing this in bits as I get time, but pump had gone. The pump was just obviously those 3 screws, 1, 2, 3, and that just comes off relatively easy. When you put it back on, it's a bit of a Chinese puzzle. You have to line up that gear, obviously, but that's no biggie. That's right, we've taken these bolts out the side, and that was the bugger. That's right, rightio. So all we do now is we have these. I've loosened all these. So you take these nuts off here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this one here, which is the one where the main power gets connected, your main charge voltage. So you have taken all these off anyway. Take them all off. Now to get it apart, you literally just put a screwdriver in this gap here and it comes apart. These ones have been together for years and they came apart relatively easily. So when they come apart, it's not a big deal. You have to remember, and I'll show you in a sec, I've already levered this one, and as I said, screwdriver in those gaps there evenly, and just be careful. That slides off. There's that. Be careful with all this because, as I said, you don't want to mark any of this. That lacquered wire there, you can't mark any of that. Right. Now this lot here. Now that's the brushes on the slip rings in there, but as I'm going to do this without. So yeah. That comes off right now. So you're just levering with that. Be careful when you put the screwdriver in to lever it, you don't damage those windings. That is the main aim of this game. Then, rightio, and you're left with this. Rightio, so back to the alternator. So the brush boxes, I don't know if you can buy them, but when you pull it apart out of the bush, like we pulled it apart, and you see that. Oh, let's see if you can see. See they spring back in? When you pull it out, one was sitting in like, the back one there was actually sitting in like that. So that's all it was. So basically I've just cleaned it out, sprayed some gunk in it, got it moving again, and you saw it came apart pretty easy. Since found the bearing was buggered, so I bought a new bearing, $7. But out the bush if you had to, and you're away for a while, you just pull that back off, clean them out, get your brushes working again. And if you've got some Scotch-Brite in the wife's kitchen collection, you just Scotch-Brite up those slip rings, just give them a bit of a clean up, not emery or anything, just something that's nice and shiny, just take the tarnish off them. It might work better, but yeah, behind those brushes you want a bit of oomph. Like those brushes are what, gets the juice through. So you can actually, if you can buy new ones, which you probably can, I'm about to Google it, what you do is desolder it there. When you buy the new brush, and then as it goes soft, the brush will pop out on the spring. So basically there's a big long lead, if you like, that comes on the back of the brush. You put the spring over it, pull it back into the brush box, pull it through, the spring tension, fold it over, you pull it through till probably it's about sticking out that far or whatever. And then you pull it against the spring here, then you just solder it on again. When it's cooled down, you just cut the excess off. That's what it looks like. That's how it looks like they install. I'm going to take it to the auto Sparky because he might have a whole new brush box, but generally they're a pretty sloppy fit. I thought they were tighter than that. They're a pretty sloppy fit, so they just get gravel and shit in there when you go through water. So anyway, there you go. Be very careful not to damage these, obviously, because if you damage, they're all insulated wires, and if you damage insulation, they'll just get shorts and it won't work anymore. So there you go. I've got 2 of them there to repair, so one of them will be the spare that goes with me, and one will be on the shelf. In fact, I'll probably put the spare straight back in so I know it works, and the one that's working in the car at the moment I'll take out and have that as my spare so I know it's all good. Goodbye. Not a good noise. Much better. Might rip that off. See if we've got a little pull to get that off. Maybe, maybe not. Might do it a bad way if you don't tell anyone. I'll try bearing pull first. I better try and do it the right way first. Don't know if these will squeeze in there, but you know, got to pretend to use the right bits first before I start being silly. That takes a long time, doesn't it? Yep. 14 hands. Oh. Without wanting to damage that commutator at all. Might be right. Well, there you go. The bearing's off. Numbers out if you can, just so you can see what they are next time if you need to see them. Got numbers on both sides of the motor shit. Now need something to fit over that to punch it on. You can use the old bearing, but if you use that, then the bearing will probably get stuck on there as well. So need something slightly bigger. The usual is a socket. In this case, it'll have to be a real deep one, or a bit of pipe. What do we got? Yeah, but it's got to push on the inner race of the bearing, obviously, not that bit. Oh, look at that. Now that square's starting to hit that now, so I can only use that for so long. So I need something else that size. Let's find something else. I'll be back. The jack handle thingy, look, for a bottle jack. Perfect. You'll know when it's home, as in position. Because the noise goes like that. That's home. Done. That was easy, wasn't it? Now, I'll quickly show you how to put it back together, because I've already had a look at one of these. So to put it back together, I line it up like this, and then I actually use a thin Allen key or something. Oh, there's one there. Just to hold those two brushes back. You hold it back, and then you lower it down, and those brushes will then go over the slip rings. Probably shouldn't be doing like this. I'm being a bit rough here, but anyway. Oh, hang on. It's like trying this puzzle by yourself, or while you're holding your camera. But anyway, oh yeah, there's one. And there's the other one right here. And that just goes down over the slip rings, so they're back on the slip rings. But anyway, the brushes is our concern. So when you clean them all out, as you can see, if you're at the bush, you can still do this. And then that just all slides back on. Now you'll find as it goes down, you probably have to put your finger just under here and hold the regulator part up just to get the first few screws started, and then you'll find they'll just start. You'll give it a jiggle and it'll just drop back down on. It's not going to do it for me at the moment. You need to really have your finger in there while you're doing it. Drop the back cover back on, and then you can nip them all up, do them back up, and you're back to where you started from. So if you're at the bush, you could just clean those brush boxes out. And every time I pull one of these apart, that's all it is. Half the time I clean the brushes out, put it back together, and then the other one goes in the car. So one hand challenge while I was talking, that actually just drop back down. See, once you can just start them, you can just get one turn on, then you give it more of a jiggle, and as you put one on, it'll just all pull up together. Just be careful though, because as you can see, it's all just solder joints and whatever. So until it's all bolted in, it's pretty flimsy. I think one of these, when I pulled it apart, yeah, one of those, the peg fell out, which is actually that peg there for your main juice. Oh look, that one just fell out as well. So they just pull up like a wheel stud on the knurl on there. You've got a knurl, so you can just probably squish it back in the hole. It'll pull up as you bolt it down anyway, but just make sure you do get them firmly in there, because otherwise that'll be a loose connection later on as it starts to wobble. Anyway, there you go, GQ alternators. And obviously when you put them back together, I'd probably try and get new ones of these. Maybe even Allen head ones would be good. Although They did eventually come out, but if you were to put anti-seize on them, they'd probably be way better. These ones probably never had anti-seize. And remember beforehand, I don't know if I told you, but I actually marked where it all lines up just with a paint pen. You want it to be lined up where it was, I think, preferably, because then everything just goes back how it was. All right.
Into the paint. Did you mean to do that?
It's fucking slippery now. I fucked it, I think.
Right, quick update on the bush repair. The bush repair alternator's been there for 4 weeks. After 4 weeks, we took it away to Genoa on the weekend. Drove out there fine, no worries at all. I think it was at night too, yes. Our headlights, everything was fine. Anyway, next day we went for a bit of a 4B. It was sloshy and muddy and horrible out there. But anyway, finally the alternator gave up the ghost again. So it's done about a month, a couple of little 4B random trips. And then the day out there, the drive out there, no worries. So a bush repair got it a little way along. But anyway, we parked it up, put the solar panel on. And the next day, while it wasn't charging, we didn't use the lockers or winch or anything like that. Because once these things are running, the TD, all it needs is that 12 volts on the fuel cut solenoid, so it doesn't really draw much power. So it just drove around for a few hours like that, and then we noticed the alternator working again. So it then worked again and worked most of the way home, just coming on and off. So there you go, the bush repair will get you out of trouble very temporarily, but I'm now going to probably get them fixed properly. So there you go.